I never thought a single piece of clothing could change the way I looked at myself, or the way someone else looked at me. But that's exactly what happened the night one dress turned me into her girly boy. My name is Ian. I'm 22, the kind of guy people describe as quiet, serious, maybe a little stubborn. I'd always kept my distance from anything that looked too soft, too emotional, or not manly. It wasn't pride. It was fear. Fear of being judged, misunderstood, laughed at. And then, there was her. Zoya. My best friend. My opposite. My mirror and my storm at the same time. She never cared about labels. She'd wear whatever she liked, speak however she felt, and laugh like she owned the air around her. I admired that, quietly. Secretly. One evening, it was raining hard. I'd come to her place because she'd just gone through a breakup and sounded like she needed someone. When I arrived, the apartment was dim, warm, smelling like cinnamon and rainwater from the windows she'd forgotten to close. She opened the door with swollen eyes. "Ian, can you just stay?" There was something fragile in her voice. I nodded. Inside, candles flickered around the living room. Her things were scattered everywhere: makeup, hairbrush, jewelry, a dress tossed carelessly on the sofa. A soft pink dress. Flowy. Simple. Beautiful. The kind of thing I'd never go near in my entire life. We sat on the floor. She talked. She cried. I listened. Hours passed. Then suddenly she wiped her face and said, "You know what? I'm done crying. I want to laugh again." She got up, searching through her clothes, then stopped, staring at the pink dress like it meant something. "You remember this," she said. "The dress you told me looked powerful when I wore it." I did remember. I'd said that without thinking. Just blurting out what I felt. She smiled through her tears. "Wear it." I froze. "What?" "Wear it," she repeated. "Just for fun. For me. Tonight I need to see something unexpected. Something that'll make me forget everything." I thought she was joking. But her eyes, red, tired, desperate, weren't joking at all. "No, Zoya. Come on." "I can't." "You can," she whispered. "Please." That please hit different. Not playful. Not dramatic. Real. Before I could figure out how to say no again, she had already picked it up and pressed it into my hands. It felt soft. Too soft. A strange warmth ran up my arms. Something like panic mixed with curiosity. "I can't fit into this," I said. "You will," she insisted. "You're slimmer than you think. And trust me, it'll suit you." I laughed nervously. "Zoya, stop." "I don't." But she stepped closer, her voice gentle now. "Ian, tonight I just need someone brave enough to look ridiculous for me. Can you be that person?" I swallowed. She trusted me with her heartbreak. Could I not trust her with something this small? So, I nodded. Her eyes softened into the first real smile I'd seen all evening. We went into her room. She stood behind me like a stylist preparing their model. I'd never felt so awkward in my life. My face was burning. She helped me slip into the dress. And that exact moment the fabric settled on my skin. Something shifted inside me. It wasn't magical. It wasn't supernatural. It was emotional. Like the dress had wrapped itself not around my body, but around a version of me I'd been hiding for years. Softer. Braver. Freer. Zoya stepped back, her eyes widening, not mocking, not shocked, just quietly stunned. "Ian," she whispered. "You look different. Like someone who finally stopped pretending." I looked at my reflection. And for the first time, I didn't see a joke. I didn't see weakness. I didn't see anything to be ashamed of. I saw me. Calmer, more open, almost peaceful. She moved closer, adjusting my hair, wiping a smudge of mascara she'd playfully dabbed earlier. "You're my girly boy tonight," she said softly. "And I mean that as the biggest compliment." And the crazy part? It didn't hurt. It didn't feel wrong. It felt honest. Like she had spoken a truth I didn't know I needed to hear. My heart was pounding, not from embarrassment, but from the sudden, terrifying realization that maybe the part of me I'd been running from wasn't something bad at all. Maybe it was something waiting to be understood. Something waiting to be accepted. By her. By the world. By me. Zoya stepped back, wiping the last of her tears with the sleeve of her hoodie. But now her eyes weren't sad. They were searching, studying, almost trying to understand the version of me standing in front of her. And honestly, I was trying to understand him too. Walk, she said suddenly. What? Walk. She folded her arms, eyebrows raised. I want to see how you carry yourself in it. I rolled my eyes. You're impossible. But I walked anyway, slow, awkward, embarrassed. Yet something in the movement felt strangely natural, like my body was learning softness without me forcing it. I caught my reflection again and felt a strange tug in my chest. Zoya smirked. You're actually kind of elegant. I tried not to smile. Stop lying. I'm not. She stepped closer. I've never seen you like this. Not even close. She wasn't wrong. I'd spent my whole life being the strong one, the guy who never cried, never broke, never admitted weakness. A wall with legs. But standing here, wrapped in a piece of fabric that wasn't even mine, I felt something I didn't have a name for. Freedom. Vulnerability. Relief. Maybe all of it. Zoya sat on the edge of the bed, pulling her knees up, watching me with a soft, almost nostalgic expression. You know, she said quietly, when we became friends, I used to wish you'd let me in. Properly. Not just the little pieces. I shrugged. I'm not good at that stuff. You could be, she said. If you stopped trying to be the person everyone expects. I looked down at the dress, then at her. You think this is me? I think, she said slowly, this is the first time you're not scared of yourself. Those words hit me harder than I expected. Because somewhere deep down, she was right. I wasn't scared of the dress. I was scared of what it revealed. A softness I'd buried under layers of manly enough. A gentleness I'd convinced myself wasn't allowed. I sank onto the carpet, leaning against the side of her bed. The fabric swirled around my legs. I'd never sat like that before, but it felt natural. Comfortable. Zoya slid down beside me. Do you feel weird? She asked. Yes. But then I added, not the bad kind. She smiled. Good. Silence filled the room, heavy but peaceful. The rain outside softened to a light patter, the candlelight flickering against the walls. It didn't feel like a joke anymore. It didn't feel like we were playing dress-up. It felt intimate, human, real. You know what I see when I look at you? She asked. What? I see someone who's been carrying a weight alone. And tonight, you finally put it down. I felt my throat tighten. It's just a dress. No, she whispered. It's honesty. My breath caught. Honesty. Such a simple word. Such a terrifying truth. Then she nudged me lightly. Can I tell you a secret? Yeah. I used to wonder what you'd look like if you let yourself be softer. She gestured at me. Now I know. I laughed quietly. Disappointed. Not even close. Something warm bloomed in my chest. And for a moment, I didn't feel judged. Or strange. Or out of place. I felt seen. She reached out, gently straightening a loose strand of hair near my cheek. The gesture was so small, so tender, I didn't know whether to lean away or lean into it. You look beautiful, Ian, she whispered. My breath stopped. Zoya. I mean it, she said. Not in a romantic or weird way. Just, you look like someone who finally recognizes himself. A painful truth formed inside me, one I hadn't expected. What if I like this? I asked softly. What if I like how this feels? What it brings out in me? She didn't flinch. Didn't tease. Didn't laugh. Instead, she took my hand, small, warm, steady. Then that means you're finally being honest with yourself, she said. And that's something to be proud of. Not ashamed. For the first time, tears stung my eyes, not from sadness, but relief. A release I didn't even know my body was craving. Zoya leaned her head on my shoulder. You don't have to fit into anyone's version of normal, Ian, she whispered. Not even mine. Outside, the rain stopped completely. Inside, something inside me opened. Something I'd kept locked away for years. Maybe the dress didn't turn me into her girly boy. Maybe it turned me into someone brave enough to face the truth. Someone who didn't need to hide anymore. Someone who could finally breathe. Someone who could finally be. We stayed like that for a long time, me in that soft pink dress, Zoya resting against my shoulder, the room quiet except for the faint sounds of the city outside. Every few minutes, I caught myself touching the fabric without thinking, like my hands were trying to memorize the feeling before it disappeared. It wasn't the dress itself. It was what it allowed me to feel. Light. Soft. Seen. Accepted. And it terrified me in the most honest way. Ian, Zoya said suddenly, lifting her head, can I ask you something? Yeah. Did you ever feel like you weren't allowed to be gentle? I looked at her. She wasn't judging. She wasn't even curious. She was trying to understand me in a way no one ever had. Yeah, I whispered. All the time. Why? I exhaled slowly. Because I grew up thinking softness means weakness. That if I wasn't tough, people would walk all over me. Or laugh at me. Or think something was wrong with me. She studied my face closely. And do you still believe that? I opened my mouth to say yes. But the words didn't come out. Because the boy in the mirror, the one wearing her dress, didn't look weak. He looked brave. More brave than the version of me who spent years pretending. I don't know, I admitted. But right now, I don't feel weak. Zoya smiled, this time brighter, full of warmth instead of sadness. Good. Because vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage. I didn't answer. My chest felt tight. Not painful tight, just full. Full of things I didn't have names for yet. She stood up suddenly. Come here. Why? You're going to see yourself properly. I hesitated, but she pulled me toward the full-length mirror in her hallway. The reflection staring back at me made me stop breathing. The dress fit me better than it should have. The soft fabric fell neatly around my frame. My face, clean, simple, natural, looked calmer than I'd seen in years. My posture had softened without me noticing. But the biggest difference was in my eyes. I looked open. Zoya stepped behind me, her hands lightly resting on my shoulders. Look, she whispered. Just look. I am. No, she said gently. Really look. Not at the dress. Not at the image. Look at yourself. So I did. And something inside me cracked open. I don't look like me, I said quietly. You look like the real you, she corrected. A lump formed in my throat. Why does that scare me so much? Because you're seeing yourself without the armor, she said. Most people never get to. Her words hit deeper than she probably realized. I kept staring, so long that the reflection began feeling like a stranger I was somehow related to. Someone familiar but unrevealed. Zoya, I whispered, not looking away, why does this feel right? Why do I feel lighter? I don't understand it. You don't have to understand it, she said. Just acknowledge it. I swallowed hard. What if other people don't accept it? She met my eyes through the mirror. You don't live for other people. You live for the person standing right there. Silence. Heavy. Sharp. Healing. I turned toward her. Do I look stupid? Her expression softened instantly. Ian, you look beautiful. And not because of the dress. Because you're not hiding. That's rare. That's brave. Brave. She kept using that word. I never thought wearing a dress, just one dress, could make me feel anything close to bravery. I expected embarrassment, humiliation, awkward laughter. But instead, I felt human. Raw. Exposed. But genuinely, quietly alive. Zoya gently touched my cheek. You know what I think? What? I think you've been hurting more than you admit. And tonight, you finally let yourself breathe. My eyes stung. I blinked quickly, but she noticed. Hey, she said softly, it's okay. And for the first time in a long, long while, I didn't hold the tears back. I didn't hide. I didn't pretend. I didn't pull away. I cried. Not loud. Not messy. Just silent tears that slipped down my cheeks like something old and heavy leaving my body at last. Zoya wiped them gently with her thumb. You're allowed to feel, she whispered. You're allowed to be soft. You're allowed to be you. I didn't speak. I couldn't. But something changed in that moment, subtle but deep. The dress hadn't turned me into her girly boy. It had turned me into someone honest. Someone real. Someone I didn't recognize fully yet, but wanted to. And that was the scariest, bravest feeling of all. Zoya held my hand, squeezing it once, slowly. You ready, she asked, to know the real reason I wanted you to wear it. My heartbeat jumped. What reason? She took a breath. The truth, she said quietly, is bigger than the dress. I looked at her, my chest tight, my hands still trembling slightly from the tears I didn't even know I needed to cry. The truth. I whispered. What truth? Zoya smiled, a soft, knowing smile. The truth is, I've always wanted you to feel what it's like to be seen. Not as the guy everyone expects. Not as the strong one or the safe one. But as you. Every piece of you, without apology. I blinked, feeling a warmth spread through my chest. It was almost overwhelming. Why would you care so much? Because I care about you, she said simply. And I've been waiting for you to stop hiding, even from yourself. Tonight, you stopped. I stared at my reflection one last time. The dress, the soft fabric brushing against my skin, the way my hair fell naturally, it all felt like a language I'd never spoken but had always understood. I realized then that it wasn't about Zoya, the dress, or even the act of dressing up. It was about letting go of fear, about accepting a part of myself I'd buried under expectation, shame, and habit. I feel different, I admitted. Like I'm allowed to be me. Soft, maybe silly, vulnerable. But also, stronger than I ever thought I could be. Zoya nodded, squeezing my hand gently. That's exactly it. Strength isn't just about being unbreakable. Sometimes it's about letting yourself be breakable. And you just found your courage. I laughed softly, a little shaky, and she laughed with me. Not at me. Not with mockery. But with understanding. With warmth. With a quiet joy that made the room feel like it could hold every secret we'd ever had. I guess. I needed this, I said finally. More than I knew. Not just the dress, but the chance to stop hiding. The chance to see myself, fully. That's life, Iron, she said. We all hide parts of ourselves until someone or something makes us brave enough to look. Tonight, that something was a dress. But the bravery? That was always yours. I looked down at the soft pink fabric again. I almost wanted to fold it and hide it, as if this moment could be contained. But I didn't. I let it stay. Because this wasn't about hiding anymore. It was about being. The rain had stopped outside. The candles were flickering low, shadows dancing across the walls. The room was quiet, but it didn't feel empty. It felt full. Full of possibility, of understanding, of acceptance. Zoya stood, brushing off her pants. You know, she said softly, you don't have to wear it again if you don't want to. But you'll carry it with you, the truth it showed you. I nodded, feeling the truth settle into my chest like a small, steady flame. I think I'll keep it. Not the dress, maybe, but the feeling. The courage. The honesty. She smiled, a radiant, tender smile that made something in my chest lift and stretch, as if all the years of fear were finally exhaling at once. Good. That's all I wanted. I stood, feeling lighter than I had in years. My reflection no longer seemed like a stranger. It seemed familiar, honest, whole. And I realized that maybe, for the first time, I had nothing to hide. The dress had been a doorway, but I had walked through it. And on the other side, I found myself. Not weak, not fake, not pretending. Just me. Zoya reached for my hand again, a gentle squeeze. You're my girly boy tonight, she said softly, with the smallest chuckle. And I'll say it again, it's the bravest, most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I smiled, a real smile, warm and open, and whispered, "Thank you, for seeing me. For helping me see myself." She just nodded, and for the first time, I realized that what we'd shared wasn't about a dress, or labels, or appearances. It was about trust, friendship, acceptance, the courage to face the parts of ourselves we'd been taught to hide. I left her apartment that night carrying more than just memories. I carried a revelation, that vulnerability is strength, softness is courage, and being yourself fully, unapologetically is the bravest thing you can ever do. And as I walked through the quiet streets, the city lights reflecting off wet pavements, I felt free. I was no longer hiding. I was no longer pretending. I was, finally, alive. And somewhere deep inside, I knew, no matter what anyone else thought, no matter what tomorrow brought, I had found my courage. And nothing could take that away.